got some rock stars in the house with us.
Oh, yeah, totally. I'll introduce everybody here. We have Emily Ford and Nicky Warner, of course, from Northern Milzo in Ford out in the Clarkston area. I have even a better intro than that if I can get to it. A long history of experience. Emily, your family's been around real estate in that area forever. Success, respect, your name's everywhere. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks so much for having us. Yes, I'm a fourth-generation realtor, believe it or not.
Snaps for that.
Yeah, it's really fun. Your folks are still in the industry, right?
So my mom is 76 years old, yeah, and we always joke that, she was licensed about when she was my age, so she's hanging in there.
Well, that's fantastic.
It's wonderful to work with her, so.
Well, that's interesting. And Nicky Warner, of course. Nicky, you've been around the area. You know that's your backyard, right?
Oh, yeah. I know the ins and outs of everywhere.
All right. So we're going to get into it here, of course. 248-539-9797. We got a lot to talk about. Again, this real estate market. I won't use the word, Becky. Didn't I just say we couldn't use the word shift anymore? But we can still use it.
Shift happens, right?
Shift happens for sure. And Becky, we talked about in the podcast, there's that a funny small window of opportunity. We see a window of opportunity here really in the winter of 2023.
Well, I feel like Michigan has been a 365 state for the last 5 years. There really hasn't been any off season. I mean, you definitely see a little bit of a pickup because there's this mentality of I have to wait till March, I have to wait till April, when in reality, right now, their buyers, if you were out shopping in the first part of the year, you were able to really capitalize on some really good deals because you're able to get concessions, because the reality is that we're still very much and have been in a seller's market. And people were kind of saying, oh, it's a balanced market. No, it's not. It's still definitely a seller's market, even with the lack of inventory. And it's going to be a really long time till we're in a true balanced market. But there are a lot of concession offers. So concessions when someone is getting the seller to pay some closing costs. And people took advantage of that in the first part of the year. And they were winning for sure.
And Emily, I would say even if you're not going to get concessions or something like that, the buyers that are out there right now, they're not up against as many offers, but it's already starting. Of course, we've had some great real estate agents in to talk real estate and what's going on in the marketplace here in Southeast Michigan. Multiple offers. They really are creeping back in because everyone wants that house and they don't want to wait for the springtime.
For sure, and just like we were talking about, Harvey, you kind of started to see a shift, I think, probably middle of January, where, it's kind of a tipping point, like Becky's saying. You don't want to wait. Mm-mm. Whether you're a seller or a buyer, it doesn't make sense to keep your foot off the pedal. We've listed a couple houses in the last 10 days, and we ended up with multiple offers. The one was in the $800,000 range.
Yeah.
The other one's, $325,000. But, these serious buyers, there's just pent-up demand. Either they've missed out, like Harvey was saying, it's so competitive. But it's the time to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very extreme overbidding, I feel like, in the spring, because you're already seeing it. Like, I have multiple buyers out there, they're writing, and that's the thing we were talking about before the show, right? Buyers are out here, they want to buy your home, but there isn't enough homes to buy. And you're talking like the biggest home buying age right now is between 25 and 35. So you have 43 million, I think, in that age group that are now entering into this buyer's market. And then you have those people well, I have a 4% interest rate and I want to leave this house. Okay, well, no, because now this home doesn't suit your needs anymore. So now you got to talk about upgrading, because we can always refinance at your own leisure, but don't sit on the sidelines, because that dream home is actually going to pass you up. And you need to start the conversation sooner than later for sure.
All right, we're going to take your calls all morning long. Of course, 1 hour of the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 248-539-9797. I did write a nice little outline here. I wrote this down. Home prices are slightly lower, but far from plummeting. And again, maybe it's just a correction. A lot of the agents out there are fighting over getting that listing, and they might have went after the seller a little bit and said, hey, look, I might be able to get you $10,000 or $20,000 more. That might still be the case, but these prices for sure are not plummeting.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. And Nicky and I see it every day. It's very competitive. And, I think maybe even the correction was kind of like you and Becky are both saying, that some people held off on listing their houses. They're in a great interest rate. They're maybe it's not the time to sell. So maybe the homes that were on the market at the end of last year really weren't the most desirable, and they weren't selling for top dollar. Mm-hmm. But now that things are gaining steam, now that rates are a bit more competitive and people realize they've got to take advantage of these opportunities.
I will say this, the sellers, so anyone that's thinking about selling your house, you did not miss the peak. Okay, we have yet to, homes are going to go over asking. And, I took a call from someone, and they're talking about what their 5-year plan is. And whether they're going to sell. We have a great rate. And I was like, okay, well, what are we talking about? You want to also acquire other properties. Well, take advantage of the fact that your first home has an amazing rate and you've already fulfilled your year obligation of having that be your primary home. Now you take that, you leverage it, you make that your rental, you're now building your investment portfolio, and now you're going into your upgrade home, the right sizing, because now you have, too many children, and it's just like, and you're having these conversations, and Harvey has them too, like we take pride in what we're doing because you can't just look right at your nose, right? You have to be looking down the road, and what are you going to do to set yourself up for success now and in the future? And if you're trying to acquire, 10 properties in 5 years, you have to have a game plan, you have to have the right team in place, and all of it starts with the conversation, which I know you know that, Nikki.
Yeah.
All right, 248-539-9797. We'll take you all day long here up till 10 o'clock. Of course, Pat Caputo will be following up. We got tons of sports coming up here, of course, following our show. The home purchase activity, they say it's down like 41%. It's weird because that's a huge number. But
is that national, though, or is it?
It's more national, yeah. And maybe here, and we always talk about real estate, it's more regional. It's not really what's going on everywhere. But I got some stats for you. We'll talk about that a little bit later. As much as they say that it's down, Becky makes mention all of these people wanting to buy. Couples are coming together. People want to own homes. They're not going to live in their parents' basement forever. They might be just getting out of that apartment situation. And what really brought all this on, Becky, and we know it, rents started going up. Everyone thought, hey, I'm going to become a landlord and buy up all these homes.
Yep.
And corporations, we were fighting to get our buyers' homes against these corporations. Well, they drove the rents so high that people are like, I'm not throwing my money out the window anymore.
Well, it's still happening. I mean, I have, people that are, I guess the best way to say it is, Michigan in our area, it's very affordable. We're not priced out like New York and Colorado, and where it's just, you're out of touch a little bit with the market values out there, whereas people from the outside are now coming in and investing in Detroit. I have an investor who's trying to gobble up all of the properties he can from California, and then you're competing. It's the same price points that you're competing with these first-time home buyers, and it's real. They're going from where they were really heavily invested in Georgia and Texas, and now they're coming into Michigan. And I bring this up because if you're not throwing your hat in the ring for home ownership for yourself, if you're not buying, you're renting, and everybody knows that. And if you're not paying your own mortgage, you're paying somebody else's, whether it's in an apartment or if it's a single family home, whatever it is. But you need to realize that there is, that's the American dream, is home ownership all the time, and it's never going to change. But you need to start that conversation because it's a lot. If you can afford $1,500 in rent, we're going to show you how you can afford $1,500 for a house and get down payment assistance probably.
All right, I don't know if you guys love the 2020 market, the 2021 market, maybe the 2022. You can pick your favorite market. I don't know. It's getting a little out of control for buyers.
May I share a fun fact?
Oh, go.
Yeah.
So Nikki was in the market like right as the world was shutting down, and I was her realtor.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Emily's my inspiration for my career change.
But it was just, honestly, she was like the first closing I had when like the world, we couldn't go to closings.
Yeah.
And so she was very brave, and she was like, oh, we're going to do this, and we're doing a walkthrough like virtually and things like that. So, what do you think now, being on the other side of things?
Well, I think you did a really good job walking me through it because I was newly divorced. I had no idea. I'd never purchased a home on my own. I didn't know what I could afford. So, Emily, I was like in good hands from the get-go, from the first time I looked at a house. And then just the market being how it was, and not, I remember it being, there were several houses on the market, but still there was a lot of offers coming in. So I think I had written like 2 offers, and then one got accepted, one didn't, and it was all, it all happened how it was supposed to. But when COVID was happening, our closing, it was outside. I was like in a car, and the title company was outside with a mask. And
this is weird, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. And then I did my final walkthrough, and I was on the phone with Emily, and she's like,
because I was forbidden from going to the
Verboten, yeah.
Verboten.
Yes,
The world
verboten.
shut down. It was like the scariest thing you did, and then the smartest thing you did.
yes. But she
Without,
was like,
go ahead, tell me the end of your story.
oh, she was like, look at the water softener, and I was like, it looks good. Like, I didn't know.
You're like, I don't know what I was supposed to say. It's like those pictures, like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Right. I felt like I was on Catch Me If You Can. I was like, I concur, but
Without getting too personal, and we don't have to look up your numbers, just give me an idea what you purchased that house for, and then what it would sell for today. That'd be a good, something to throw out there. What's that difference
I
there?
got it for $420, and it was slightly under asking. I feel like it would sell in the mid fives at least today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've still got a great deal. And it's a wonderful neighborhood, awesome neighbors.
So what you're hearing is timing is everything, right? You can do the right thing at the wrong time, or you can do the right thing at the right time, right? It's all about doing things at the right time. But what is really cool is that we're still in an appreciating market. So you bought right before it just went crazy and everyone had FOMO because, you know, hats off to you because, you know, agents during that time, so 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, actually, you had to pivot. You had to learn how to readjust and how are we still going to, you know, sell these homes, show these homes. And in that moment, who you work with 1,000% mattered because you couldn't even go in there. You couldn't see each other, you know, and then for her to give you such an amazing experience to now that you wanted to, you know, change your occupation to that, because I feel like sometimes we all fall into this industry a little bit, but it's either sometimes you're pushed by a bad experience and you want, your mission is to be like, I don't ever want anyone to have this experience, or a good experience because you want to push that forward. So I love that story.
All right, shift happened. You said it, Becky. 248-539-9797. We got tons to share with you. Come on back and join us.